Atlantia vivere, Atlantia vincere, Atlantia victor, Atlantia vivere, Agartha vivere, Shambhala vivere, Lemuria vivere, Urantia vivere, Akasha vivere, Lir, Mursulka vivere, the cat civilization, the horse civilization, the insect civilization vivere. My dear friends, this film is for AMD and for Agartha and for everyone whom I love. And I wish to tell you the small or big story of AMD and the great Zen processor that they or we are launching now. When I first started in the test of Agartha, because I'm the child of two worlds, I'm half Atlantean and half Agarthan, in January 2013, and the active period began in April 2013. I was asked by the great Princess Mihaela Orțiple, her mail form, what I wish to do with my money. And I said, let us support AMD, because I knew about the friendship between Canada and Romania. Because I knew that AMD was going to go bankrupt, to go bust, and was going to be bought by Intel, or maybe absorbed back into IBM. And I knew that after that the Anti-Monopoly Commission in the United States of America will come and cut Intel into 5 different companies, and the whole market of microprocessors will fall down. So I helped Intel, I also helped AMD, I helped Canada, because I strongly believe in the spirit of peace which is in Canada and also in Australia. I believe that this spirit of peace between Canada, Australia and New Zealand should be used to oppose, to exemplify to the people of the United States of America that their path of global policeman is not the right path, you know. And for all these reasons, because also the state of Romania had a share in AMD at yours truly initiative back in 2008, I chose to support AMD. So in case you're wondering, those $2 billion came from me. Not from me directly, because probably you are noticing that I am a very poor man and I am lacking some teeth in my mouth. From the money which I should or shall receive from Agartha at the end of my trial. Because I wish to support the great civilization of the high dragons of Agartha, the dragons with 4 wings and 4 legs. Also I wish to support the great civilization of bacteria or unicellular beings, spiritual and conscious, or conscious and spiritual. I have not personally, I have not selected Lisa Su to become CEO of AMD, but I have noticed that she is from Agartha. I have noticed that she is like Princess Mihaela, and I was informed about the technological process. I said to Princess Mihaela, you know, we have to bring to AMD the best people. Find the best man who ever worked at AMD and pay him whatever he wants and bring him back. And they did that. And I said I want to have a processor like they have at Intel with the 2 threads per core. And I want to have a respect, or to respect the Moore's law, which commands us to have 1 core at 130 nanometers, 2 cores at 90 nanometers, 4 cores at 65 nanometers, 8 cores at 45 nanometers, 16 cores, and we have the Opteron with 16 cores from 2010 there. And after that the pace got slower and slower. People did not want it or needed so many cores because their games were optimized only for 4 or 8 cores. And only at the server market we have today Intel with 24 cores and 48 threads sells for $7,000 plus, $7,125 if I'm not mistaken. They also have a crazy variant with 4 cores and 8 threads at $6,800, Xeon E7 8893, I believe, 8,193. But we at AMD, we have, because AMD is my biggest firm, I wish to promote the Agarthan civilization, because I believe that we are now multicellular beings and intelligent beings on the face of the planet. But because I'm half a Gazan, I also feel the need to promote the unicellular beings. Obviously, unicellular beings are not as efficient as multicellular beings, otherwise there will be no purpose in having multicellular beings on this planet. We will all be bacteria, yes, and viruses. But the idea is that although I know that Simona Halep and others cannot be as efficient multicellular beings, I know that they can get very close because cells communicate between themselves. And if you watch someone from Agartha playing chess, he's communicating with all the other unicellular beings on the planet. And always he can anticipate your moves. Of course, he will not be a world champion, as well as Simona Halep will not be a world champion in tennis, but they come, very close. Many times Simona Halep has defeated even 4D beings or light beings. And obviously 4D beings are much more efficient than 3D beings, otherwise what will be the purpose for us to ascend to another plane of existence, no? And yet she has defeated twice Angelique Kerber, and I know that she is now number one, that she is my sister Artemis and so on and so forth, but I have worked for 7,000 days for Atlantia. I have invoked the first pillar of Atlantia, which is the pillar of waters or fire for Lemuria, sacrifice and suffering. I have stayed another 13 days in sacrifice and in suffering, and now 13 days in sacrifice. So they did everything I asked, and also at my other company at Love in Space, they have created a wonderful game, Sunrider Mask of Arcades, which was given free. Half of the game called Mask of Arcades was given free, and I used it to promote the Great Civilization of Agartha, just like the Final and Fantasy 13, 2, Part 2 and Lightning comes into Final Fantasy, which are not games made by me. I have to note, they are also promoting the Great Civilization of Agartha. And I feel the need to promote them because it is really a special civilization. So I see today the microprocessors market. I see how people at Cray, with the supercomputer company, only use Intel processors. And I have wrote it to them today on Twitter, and I said, please use AMD Zen processor with 32 cores and 64 threads built on 40 nanometer processor, because we are going to have 64 cores and 128 threads on the next technological process, which is 10 nanometers, and I believe it will be a very grave mistake to skip it, because if we skip it and the next 7 nanometer processor which we borrowed from Samsung does not work for us, we will have to go back to 40 nanometers, and in 4 years Intel will have 10 nanometers and 7 nanometers. What are we going to do? Sell pizza on the streets? Make a car wash or what? Yes? So please don't get into a situation where you need to get more money. Yeah, okay. Maybe I will be paid. Maybe we will sell for 47 billion, 48 billion dollars, because the manufacturing cost is only 10 cents or 15 cents per processor. And I know that the big problem at Intel processors, at least, also at AMD, is the fact that the cache part cannot be resized because it is a thing of leaking current. So we have 70% or 80% of the processor, it is that very big cache memory, level 1 cache, level 2 cache, level 3 cache, level 4 cache. Perhaps we can move all that part off die or off processor, but we have to do this in a smart way to make some hyper transports. Also, we can maybe also move the graphical part of die, or maybe mix it, give to the people who make motherboards the possibility of putting, we have a lot of integrated graphic parts which are 10 times better than what Intel has. Let us give them those integrated graphical parts to the motherboard manufacturers, and they pay us how much they want to pay us. Yes, $25, $50, $100, I don't care how much, because the point is not money. The point is to revolutionize the computer industry. And I know that many people are crying, more cores, you want more slaves, more cores, you have to shoot yourself, throw yourself off the Brooklyn Bridge. I have seen some replies today on Twitter and also on forums of media.com, because people do not understand. They put too much emphasis, because they live in the medieval age, on the fact that they make a greener world. Let's save the planet. Let us have a processor which costs $7,000 and consume with 1.5 watts of power per hour. This does not save the planet. If you want to save the planet, go to Africa, give money to those people. First of all, stop the wars in Africa, because if you give money to, just like that, you know, they are going to buy weapons with them, the governments, yes. Give food to the people, give money to the people, prop them up, yes, like I am propping now AMD and Agartha and Loving Space. And after you prop them up and help them, they will find their own ways to make a greener planet, you know, which are far more efficient than just cutting 1 watt of power and you paying $6,000 or $5,500 more, because our own Zen processors are going to be sold with $1,500, around that number, $1,500, $2,000, yes, per processor, which has 32 cores and 64 threads. Yes, I have seen that. You know, the gigahertz are not so big, they are only about 2.20 or something like that. It does not matter, we are not in a gigahertz race. The people at Intel were very wise, fake wise, a while ago. They say, well, the gigahertz race doesn't matter. We have made the Pentium 4, which can overclock to 7 gigahertz on, I don't know what, liquid nitrogen. Now, no more cores, does not matter. People no longer buy desktop computers. They buy tablets and smartphone. Well, you are not going to watch, 16 movies at the same time, especially not on your on your smartphone. Obviously, I very much doubt that you are doing more than one thing at a time. Maybe 2 things at a time at your tablet, if it is a really big tablet. But this does not matter, because we are now in an SSD race and everyone wants lightning fast SSDs and so on. Processors does not matter. If they shoot themselves like I shoot myself now, for some reason, because they are stupid, they are using their smartphone, and after that they are trying to use something like Adobe Studio for their own movies and uploading them to YouTube because they don't want to get home, which is stupid. Is really a stupid idea, like the idea that people are too much convenient to move their little finger 2 centimeters up on the screen, and that is why they need to have a button down so all the icons need to drop so they can put right in the middle. So we should not make people lazy. In Russia, because I'm half Russian and half Macedonians, we have a say that, or a way of thinking that everyone must, or every man at least, not women, must be able to repair whatever thing. So all the things that we buy in Russia are broken and you need to have the technical know-how to fix them. In this way you prove that you're a strong man. Anyway, I also wish to talk about Serena Williams. I was very wrong. I wish to apologize to her. Maybe I will send this video also to her. Because, yes, and I also have 2 other companies. I had to understand that they have some big losses. And I told them what to do. And at one Touch X, they have produced, like communists in China, some really nice phones which they sold at a loss, with $200 and $250, and I sell them, and I told them, you are communists, I am also a communist, I believe in communism, please sell that with $400, and they did sold them with $400, and they had a huge success. I also expect money from that company, at least $100 million I expect from them. Doesn't matter. Okay. Doesn't matter. What what I wish to say is that people at Vultr, yes, people at Vultr should invest more and make more dedicated servers, because they have at Tokyo and in America some servers which are always occupied, because people need more than 4 times 120 gigabytes small SSD drives. They need 1 terabyte drive. I have had this virtual democracy forum, virtualdemocracy.org, democracyatlanta.org, and I had 100,000 threads per day, 524 gigabytes occupied after 1 terabyte full of stupid things from a lot of people. And less than 1 gigabyte was my work. All the 55 subdomains, the games, the Atlante Online, the Democrazia Virtuale.com, Democrazia Atlanta, or e-world site, which I have uploaded lots of photographs, and the podcast where I have the music, and the chat system, and the forums, yes, and the email at square of democraciavirtuale.com. Everything was under 1 gigabyte. And then these spammers came, and they entered in on the section of question and answer, and I have seen at Rackspace how out of my 40 threads, because I had 2 Intel processors with 20, because they only use Intel, with 20 cores and 40 threads in total, I have seen how they bogged down the server. A few hundred people bogged down the server. So if we are going to go at AMD to 512 cores and 1024 threads, which is very easy, at 5 nanometers, we only need to put 2 drives on the same package like Intel did with Q600, 6600. Yes, it is very easy. And maybe if we move some parts of drive like the cache memory and the graphical part, we can put thousands of processors, and a whole system of 400, which costs now $400 million, can be at the desk of every man, woman, and child on this planet. What they will do with this power? Well, they will use it, I don't know, to crack codes, which is very good. Let this monopole only to NSA. Yes, we are now in a quadrupole on this planet. Also, I have seen that people at power, people at people at IBM, they are calling us at AMD the golden goose, which is laying golden eggs. Because at IBM they have a very strict way of doing things, and now they have the Power 8 processors, which have 8 cores and 8 threads per processor, and they have very big cores which are made for mainframes. And they're moving very, very slowly, yes, and we are moving much faster with much less money. And I believe in this Canadian firm, Romanian-Canadian Agarthan firm. I strongly believe. That is why I gave nearly all my money to them. 98%, 96% of my money is. Of course, I have kept only 2% or 5 or 4% for me in order to have a living, because I don't have a living right now. Anyway, does not matter. What I wish to say to it is I strongly believe in you. And I believe also in this government and this country, even if I swear them, people of Romania. I wish to take example from the people of Sweden. In Sweden we have the highest standard of living in the world. Why? Because in the autumn of 1943, the rapport between the highest wage and the lowest wage in Sweden was 500 to 1. And the World War II came, and the winter came, and 3/4 of Sweden is only frozen lakes and glaciers, and they died. 3/4 of the population of Sweden died of starvation. No one worked anymore, because they were paid so less in comparison with the others. And after they did that, after 3/4 of the whole population died, like in Cambodia, they made a new law. Sweden is a monarchy. And they said, from now on, the highest wage or salary in Sweden shall be twice the lowest wage. The king of Sweden has twice the amount of money in his hand than the woman who is watching, who who is washing his desk or his floor, yes. And if he has more, like in the private companies, then the state of Sweden comes and takes with a tax rate of 99% all his money, and he is left only with twice the amount of money that the lowest income in Sweden has. And all this money which come from taxation go into the health system, into the education system, and so on. And thus Sweden, it is the most respected country in the world. And I'm thinking about what is happening in Romania right now. 1,500 to 1, the report. And people here do not have glaciers, and they do not have frozen lakes. They have a very beautiful country, and they have a lot of raw materials, not like in Taiwan when they only have sand and they make processors out of sand. Or like in Japan when they import everything and they have tornadoes and volcanoes. Yes, 400 volcanoes in one country. Or like in Norway where they have 800 volcanoes. Or like in Iceland where they have more volcanoes than the number of football players in that country. And so on. And they don't know what to do with it. They are acting like fools. When you go to get employed in Romania, everyone says, well, you will get to work now, but their purpose is to humiliate you, to break your spirit, not to put you to work, not to pay you, not to make you, not even to steal from you, only to humiliate you. Because that is their, ethical game, to humiliate each other, to destroy each other. And I wish to speak now about other cultures like Lemuria, where they go from consciousness to spirit. In Atlantia we go from ethics to consciousness. And I know there is a civilization of black people in the center of Africa, in Congo, who are all hermaphrodites, like Venus Williams and Serena Williams. They were born there, and they are all very strong. And they come from the constellation of Oriolis or Orioles, because we say that the black people are the only people, humans, who came from this planet. The rest came from the stars. No, the black people also came from the stars. And I have seen that Serena Williams has lost her semi-final after being worked out by Simona Halep. And I wanted to make a movie for Simona Halep, to tell her that I believe in her, that she has to go forward in her game, to attack more, not to always stand her baseline, yes. And so, I know a lot of things. I'm like Ceausescu, big dictator. I'm a man in charge. But every time when I searching on YouTube for I am Australian song, I get over the first suggestion is I am a madman in charge. And in Australia, because I will send these videos also to Darren Cahill, they have this wonderful country, but they don't know how to exploit their own hymn. I am Australian should be the national anthem, because it is said that for 40,000 years the first inhabitants of Australia were the people of the Heart, the ancient Heart, which is the ancient capital of Lemuria. It was there. In New Zealand, in Australia, in the Philippines, all that part which is now partially submerged. And they have a big desert in the middle of Australia. That is where the big bombs fell, yes, 50,000 years ago, the atomic bombs. And we have the keepers of the flame, the red race, the people who are now the first inhabitants of Australia. They did not come from Africa, from Somalia, they were from there, They are the first Lemurians, and they believe in consciousness and so on. So yes, the black people like Serena Williams, which are hermaphrodites, perhaps we should also have, I apologize for saying that she was a man, she's also a man and a woman. You have to know that the first gods of Atlantia were also hermaphrodites, because we believe that women and that men and women are the two parts of the same being, and they always search each other, and they go from spirit to light. And Serena Williams, I have talked with her in my head, and she sees all of Lemurian fleets, all of Atlantean fleets, all the fire of Lemuria and all the waters of Atlantia, perhaps even better than I, the president of Atlantia and the president of the Great Council of Atlantia, see them. And maybe this is also a test from me, because when you are desperate and when you lower your because you're desperate, because your humility in Romania, you lower your expectations, yes. And also Simona Halep, my sister Artemis, does the same thing. She reads all the bad commentaries against her and she lowers her level, and then all the demons come. And in order to calm off these demons, you have to stay, like in the test of Agartha, in a closed space, not to get in touch with other people, because other people have other ideas. They are not necessarily bad, but they have other ways of thinking and other ideas and so on. So you need to stay calm in darkness, because the Illuminati do me a great service every time when I type something against Hillary Clinton or the Illuminati on the net. They cut off my light, they cut off my electrical current until 12 o'clock, and at 12 o'clock or 0 a.m. or 24 p.m. magically the light comes on again. It is a warning, but it is also a sign of great compassion for me, and I can focus completely on my divine mission then. So I strongly advise, I do not give orders, I strongly advise the Cholos government to take example from Sweden, from Taiwan, from China, from Australia, who will be the new omen of leadership, and to privatize the entire health system, to the entire education system, to modify the constitution, because they have the votes in the parliament, and everything else, not to put new taxes, to raise from 10% to 22% the contribution. This will not help. We need $10,000 per human, not $500 spending for health in Romania. We need good hospitals, and this will not come from the government. This will come from private enterprises. If I die and I still have some money left that you, the government of Romania, or the army, or Secret Service, or the church should give, I wish to make an Apollo University and a hospital called Apollo in Cluj, or in other cities. And I wish to be an honest education. No one should copy, because the university professors, which knew my father, said that they hope, for the reasons of integrity, that my father allows all his students to copy at his exams, because he copies that book, only changed the name, and also kept the name of Doblares first and put me and himself second or third. Always three authors, always. Yes. It is too much lie in Romania, too much corruption, you see. I advise you to renounce stealing. I advise you to renounce your lies. I advise you to renounce at your ethical games. I advise you to go towards consciousness. I advise you to give gifts to other people. Not even the gifts that I have received at MacBook Air and iPhone 5, they will not given to me. Not even the portrait of that Albigensis woman, which is now Dracula, was not given to me. People too much steal here, yes. That is why maybe I will get employed at AMD or move there in Canada, I don't know. So I wish to say, because this is a very long message, and I know this, I know that uploading will take a long time. I wish to say that I see you all, and I know you all, because I am the spirit of this planet. And I see the people of the heart, the people of Lemuria, the people of Nazca Plateau. I see Christina Aguilera, who has white hair because her father was an Albigensis. I see everyone now. I have reached to the unmanifested natures, or to the Divine Mother. Not the Divine Mother worshipped by the ancient Australians, but this Divine Mother, which is 32 million times more powerful, the Virgin Woman, the unmanifested nature. I wish to say, I love you all. Goodbye.